Pitch Football at the Euros, brought to you by Downforce Radio.
They say life is a game, gotta have your goals. I gotta take a shot, now pass me the ball. Always wanna stop me when I'm running the ball. Gonna dust it off, now watch me go.
Welcome once again to Pitch Football at the Euros with me, Iain Chambers. We have this wonderful, beautiful football reporter, sports reporter. You report on all sorts of stuff, don't you? It's Abigail Davies. How are you doing, Abs?
Very well. I'm a bit taken back by that. That's the nicest you've been to me all week.
Stepping it up.
Yeah.
Stepping up again. Speaking of beautiful, look at this man. Look at him. He's a legend, isn't he? He's an absolute legend.
Where are we looking?
Okay.
So many accolades, too many to name. It is former England legend, Mr. Paul Ince. Paul, you alright?
Yeah, I'm good, you?
Yeah, good.
Do you know what?
Shall we do this?
You've got to be special to have ice in your water.
Yeah.
We've just been given some warm water, lukewarm.
It's all about priorities, darling. It's all about priorities.
Are you saying priorities?
I thought you said
It's all about
Pilates.
priorities. He's doing Pilates.
I want to try and do
I thought you said
Pilates, you know?
Pilates, yeah.
I think as I'm getting to this kind of age of mine, you know what I mean? I feel like I need to stretch out a bit more. You know what I mean?
What sort of stretch? Like, could you put your legs real wide and all that sort of stuff? Or?
No, I can't. That's the problem.
It's
you
a
know?
different show, Ian. Different show.
And it kind of helps with my golf, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah,
If I
yeah.
can stretch more and get myself, you know.
I want to get onto your golf in a minute, but
Well,
first,
we have to.
if you haven't already, make sure you download the Pitch Football app. Lots to see on there, lots to get involved with when it comes to the Euros, including you could win yourself a round of golf with Paul Ince, which nobody wants because he's going to beat you. Trust me on that. Paul, back to the day. It's been a while.
It's been a while. I was meant to do one yesterday, but you know I was a little bit tired after my encounter with the shark in the sea. So I was a little bit. You know,
How is your injury?
it's not too bad. I took the stitches out this morning, so hopefully I'll be okay.
That's only the fourth mention today as
So
well.
I was thinking about a fact today, and I thought, what can I do? And I've kind of thought I want to go on the McDonald's theme.
Oh yeah,
Do you like McDonald's?
I love a bit of Mackie D's.
Like McDonald's?
No.
No, what's your favourite meal at McDonald's?
I just love a Big Mac. I'm
a Big Mac man,
stereotypical.
aren't I?
Yeah, you're a Big Mac man.
Big Mac man.
Two Big Mac men.
Big Mac man. Large fries, apple pie, can't have ketchup. That's me.
That's me.
That's nice, isn't it? So anyway, what I was going to say is that the first, which is a fact, is that the first McDonald's drive-through that ever opened was in Sierra Vista in Arizona.
Really?
Okay, and the reason behind it was because there was a military installation there, okay, like a military camp.
Yeah.
Okay, and obviously with the army gear, for them to go to McDonald's, the army used to say, for you to leave the camp, you have to put on civilian clothes because you're part of the public. And the army people didn't want to do that. So what McDonald's did, they put a hole in the wall, so the army people could then get in their cars, in their outfits, drive to McDonald's without having to change into civilian clothes.
Amazing.
And that was in 1975.
And what was the meal they ordered? What was the first
Big
meal?
Mac, large fry, apple pie,
Yeah.
kind of ketchup.
Yeah.
And who'd have thought a couple of decades later you'd be getting them on the way on from away days?
On the way to them.
On the way to,
to.
You're not saying that, so.
Listen, we were talking about golf a little bit earlier, how you could win yourself a round of golf with Mr. Paul Ince if you get involved with our 4-play feature on our Pitch Football app. Yesterday got a little bit heated. These two had a bit of a rivalry going. You had a bit of a put-off. Loser had to wear the opposite nation's football shirt, which means she lost.
Abby lost, yep.
Abby,
Narrowly.
who's she? The cat's mother, my mum would say.
Yeah, exactly, Abby lost.
Abby lost.
Your mum would be proud.
My mum would be very disappointed. So I'm going to go and get my England shirt, and you're going to wear it. How do
I'm
you feel
going to
about
have
that?
to.
Have you ever worn an England shirt before?
Never.
But she's going to wear it for the Turkey-Wales game.
Okay.
Okay, that's when she's wearing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing is, I stick to a bet. You know, if I lose one, then you've got to stick to the forfeit, haven't you? Very disappointed. I did come quite close.
You did.
You know,
what, I was
you had a
worried.
sweat on.
I did-
You
I
had
was
a
worried.
sweat on.
Yeah, I was absolutely worried
I
at the
hope
time.
they got-
I was watching the ball and I'm thinking, oh, well, she's going to knock my ball off and hers is going to go in the
Yeah.
glass and
Yeah.
I've got to wear that Wales kit. They wouldn't have fought me. I would have come up to it, wouldn't it? You know what I mean? So
That's
I
how
had
they're
my
wearing
belly
them these
showing.
days.
I had all my belly showing and just like the Wales top up there. I didn't
Big Mac belly.
Didn't fancy that one little bit.
Oh, that's something I'd have loved to have seen.
I know.
But look, I'm surprised how energetic Paul is today. You know, he's a vibrant man this morning, full of beans.
Well, given there
didn't
was
sleep.
a defeat in there as well.
That's what I mean, you
yeah.
can't have slept
What
last
kept you
night 'cause
awake, Paul? What kept
We've
you
got
awake?
footage of it.
Yeah.
We can
Yeah,
roll the
let's have a
footage.
look.
But yeah, talk us through what happened yesterday after the show.
We had a pattern competition, obviously.
Yeah.
And Abby was obviously out of the picture after her performance before that. And there was me, Derek and Mr. Chambers here. I call him Muscles now because he's in the gym every day. So me, Derek and Muscles, and we had to do exactly the same feat, get it into the glass. Muscles did it twice in a row,
Yeah.
won €60. He was outstanding. And he was under pressure. You know,
Heat
because
was on.
he went first, he got it in. Derek went first, he got it in. I went third, got it in, and then he went again and got it in. Brave man, love you.
How were you feeling?
Thank you. What, seriously?
Yeah.
So I was chatting a good game,
Yeah.
and I'm sure you've been around players in your time that talk a good game but don't back it up.
For sure.
Did I think I was going to back it up? Not for a second.
Yeah.
Not for 1 second.
But you
Especially
did.
on the second putt, but I
You
did it.
Is it on your CV yet?
Did it. That is my life show reel.
Yeah.
And the celebration was on par with Abby's one. It was on par with your celebration was immense. It was immense. I loved it.
Well, look, I'm sure we'll have many more challenges as the month rolls on. We've got a long time together, guys, but let's start getting stuck into some football. Today we've got some lovely fixtures, as we always do. There's not a bad game in this tournament, in my opinion, but Ukraine versus North Macedonia is up there.
You can do that one.
Both teams suffered late defeats, Abby, in their opening fixtures, but it's a bit of a chance, to hit the reset button.
Yeah, I mean, you're struggling to see either of them doing much, aren't you? I think Russia really, really struggled in that opening game. Belgium, they're going to run away with the group. And you just look at the other teams in that group, and realistically, whichever team finishes second, they're not going to do much, are they?
It's true.
You can't really see realistically. I know we've talked about it's great for North Macedonia, and I think the point to pick up on is I really like the new qualification process that you can qualify through the national league system, because it gives nations that wouldn't normally have that opportunity, it gives them the chance to play in a tournament like this.
No, it does, you're right. But also, when you look at those two teams, you're right what you say, it's a chance for them to get 3 points on the board. And that's the most important thing. And when we kind of consider that, 4 teams who finish third can get through to the next stages, it gives them a great chance. So it won't be a nil-nil, that's for sure. Both teams have got to go for it.
Yeah.
So, and when you look at these fixtures, you think, crying, it's going to be a good game.
It's going to be open.
It's going to be open.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Plenty of goals,
Yeah.
plenty of mistakes. I'm actually looking forward to it.
It's a chance for an underdog game to steal the show, and that's what I love about this tournament. Denmark versus Belgium is a game I'm actually really looking forward to for several reasons, Paul.
What are those several reasons, please?
Well, I just think that Denmark are going to be all business. After they can now actually breathe a sigh of relief. They know that Christian's all right, but at the same time, they're gonna miss him in this game.
Yeah, as I said, I mean, look for all these England national teams, and they've all one of them's got a talisman.
Yeah.
Christian Eriksen was that.
He's
talisman.
their playmaker.
He's their
isn't he?
playmaker.
Yeah.
He's the Modric. He's the when everything goes through him.
Yeah.
So for them to obviously take them to Belgium is going to be a tough ask without him. But they've got no choice. They've got to go and win the game. And the Belgians are a fantastic team. I fancy them alongside England to win it. So Lukaku's banging form.
And the thing is,
De Bruyne should be back now.
He's training.
He's back
Yeah.
training. So it's going to be a tough ask for Denmark.
but you look at that Danish side, and you've got Braithwaite up front, who can be such a good player, but without he can. But without Eriksen behind him, who's going to be supplying him? You haven't got that supply, have you, up to him? And I think he might be a little bit isolated. He's going to have to drop a bit deeper.
No, as I said,
And he's not gonna see
everything
as-
goes
yeah,
through
he's not gonna
him.
see as much of
Everything
the
goes
ball.
through him. But listen, there's always going to be situations in games, or where you're going to lose your certain players, your top players, and you have to have a plan B and a plan C. But I think that the strategy for Denmark is that we've got to go and win the game.
Yeah.
We can't afford to sit back. We need 3 points, and that's just going to play straight into the Belgium's hands.
We've seen a lot of the players of the Denmark side really passionate about getting the job done now for many reasons, including Christian Eriksen. They want to do it for him. That can really spare a team on, can it? A disastrous moment and a heartbreaking moment at the time. Like it can push you on.
Yeah, you hope so. You really hope so. And listen, I think the fact that he's up now and then he's smiling and telling jokes, it allows them to kind of really now start focusing on what they have to do. We know Christian Eriksen, and I'm thinking as a player myself.
Yeah.
Listen, he's up, he's well. Now we've got to kind of change our focus to about us. We've not got him for the rest of the tournament. What are we going to do?
Yeah.
And you don't a bit kind of get emotional and say, well, we want to do it for him. We want to do it for them. We want to do it for our country. We want to do it for the players. We want to do it for the fans. And that's how you got to switch the focus. Because sometimes you start thinking too much about Eriksen. It can distract you what you actually want to do. But as I say, it's going to be a tough game. It really
The
is.
thing is, as well, though, we talk about how it impacts Denmark. There are 3 or 4 players in that Belgian team who play with him. We saw Lukaku after he scored his first, and he ran up to the camera and said, "We're with you." You've got Alderweireld, who I actually thought played a good game in the opener. I thought, we've all talked about how they're an aging squad, but I thought he put in a really dominant display at the back. You've got Vertonghen, who's played with him. So it is, both of them have got that, in the back of their minds, and they've come out and said, the Belgian players in particular said that they were thinking about it a lot pre-match. But just to pick up on, so you said about Belgium and England being your favourites, how many of the England 11 would you put in the Belgian side?
Oh!
I'm genuinely...
Is that for now or is that for later on?
No, it's now. I'm asking, yeah.
Am I allowed to answer it now, Muscles?
I don't know. What do you...
But listen,
go on.
I'm just intrigued to...
Well, you'd put
Oh,
Sterling.
you came to me like I was like your dad or something.
You'd put Sterling in there, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Sterling, would you put Kane in there? Kane's one of the greatest strikers in the world.
Got to put him in there.
Harry
before
Kane's got
Lukaku?
Well, that's a different one. You'd still put him in there.
okay.
Maguire, you'd put in there. As I said, to talk about Alderweireld, Vertonghen, their aging centre halves. Carl Walker, that's 4 for you.
Yeah.
Do you want me to go on or just leave it like that?
Well, you're just going to transform the Belgian side to the England side, aren't you? Maybe I should have asked it the other way around, shouldn't I? Jeepers.
Just briefly, we can touch on this further in the next quarter. We're closing in on the break now, but Netherlands versus Austria is the final game of the day. Paul, this is two teams that haven't got that much pressure on them because they both won their first respective games on Sunday.
This is the standout game for me.
Yeah.
It really, really is. Austria, again, we keep saying it, we keep talking about dark horses and we mentioned Hungary and things like that, but Austria, the way they played the other day, they're scoring goals for free, they're playing attacking football, alongside the Dutch are doing exactly the same. So this is another game where I expect plenty of goals, really do. Listen, you've both got 3 points, but if they can win a game, then you're more or less guaranteed to go through to the next round. So it's a big game for both teams.
You feeling it?
I am. And do you know what? The opening game, that was my game of the opening
Loved
round.
it.
Yes, I agree.
That was,
I nearly got beat up as well, didn't I? We'll talk about that.
We need to discuss that
We need to
because
talk
you
about
put your
that.
foot right in it.
I did. Could have just been you two.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll be back after the break. Make sure if you haven't already, download the Pitch Football app. You can get involved with all sorts of stuff, win yourself some amazing prizes, and I'll be back with Abby and Paul in a few minutes. Pitch Football at the Euros, brought to you by Downforce Radio.
They say life is a game, gotta hop your toes. I gotta take a
Welcome
shot
back
now.
to Pitch Football at the Euros with me, Abby and Ince. Ince has just insisted that I can only call him Ince because we're on that level now, yeah?
Yeah, we are. Yeah,
All
we're bonded enough
No
now.
more the P word.
No, Paul.
What about PI?
PI,
Okay,
yeah,
PI?
what about
PR's
PI?
okay, but I just
All right.
I don't want none of this legend stuff. I'm quite humble. I just want Ince.
Ince.
That's it. Yeah, we're bonded
Used
now.
to kick a ball about.
Abs, Ince, muscles. That's how we're going
I'm still not.
That's how we're going to roll.
I've really got to carry on working out if we're sticking with that.
How I'm not muscles is beyond me. Right? I've been petitioning for that one.
Abs, before the break, I teased the fact that I nearly got beat up, and I'm sure lots of the audience who've been listening to my northern accent for the last week now are pretty disappointed that I didn't. But do you want to?
I'll be honest.
Do you want to tell the story?
I'll be honest. It was idiotic.
It was,
I think we're on that level that I can be honest.
We're on
with
that
you.
level. We're on that level.
We were watching the Dutch game. Ukraine pulled 2 goals back. It was so clear that everyone in there was Ukrainian. It was blatantly. obvious.
But then I called
But
it.
then-
I said Netherlands are going to score.
You did, but you certainly made the Ukrainians know about that
Yeah.
when they did score.
Yeah.
And it was a
hyped.
massive
You know that
error.
feeling when you know you're right and you're hyped.
Not in front of
Not in front of
Ukrainians, you're
Ukrainian
not.
fans.
No, it was a massive, and I think that's the point where every one of us just moved our chairs away from you ever so slightly.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like, oh, we're just using the table.
with
We
him.
don't actually know him. We're just using the table for our drinks because I didn't fancy my chances. I didn't fancy your chances.
I got
Paul
Ince,
wasn't
I
there.
got Ince on speed dial.
He would have driven straight past.
Yeah.
Listen, let's move on. I know, as we always say, this show is filmed a day in advance, so we can reflect now on last night.
Yeah.
You two were watching the Portugal game together, along with a load of fans, weren't you?
Absolutely. It was a really nice experience, actually, especially because I predicted 3-0 and Ince wasn't happy about that at all. He's having to bite his lip because he's so devastated. Hates being wrong. He was wrong. I was right. But yeah, it was great to catch up with some of the fans as well. So we'll speak to one now. So we are here now with Phil. Phil, you just watched that game. Convincing victory. How are you feeling after it?
Feeling pretty good about it. It started off a little bit slow, but then, Portugal pulled off at the end. We're pretty happy about that.
And Ronaldo, how does he do it? He didn't even touch the ball that many times in that. He wasn't that influential throughout, but he still pops up with 2 crucial goals. He's massive for you, isn't he, in this tournament?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, at the beginning of the game it was a bit slow, but he came up at the end strong and he did what he does,
And is he the one that's going to win you this tournament?
I'm hoping so.
So how did it come to be that you're supporting them here in Portugal? Are you living over here now?
Yeah, I'm actually Portuguese. My parents are Portuguese, but I was born and raised in Canada, and I'm back here now, and I'm always rooting for them. So.
Did you move back over in 2016 after the Euro when you thought, do you know what, I want a bit of the glory of moving back over?
Yeah, kind of like that. Not too long after the last win, we came out here, and me and my wife, we started our life out here. So yeah.
Would you say the squad is stronger this time round than it was in 2016?
Yeah, I think they're an all-round team now, and they coming off of that last win, and the last 2 years have been hard for everybody, and I think they really want to just come in strong and get that win. So.
And for you personally, obviously you've got your young son here now as well. How great is it after the year we've had, like you said, to be able to bring him along? I know he doesn't understand it that much at the moment, but just to bring him along and experience that with him.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's something that I couldn't have ever thought I would be experiencing, but it's amazing. Yeah.
So are you gonna retain the championship? Are you going to win it again?
Let's go, Portugal!
A very happy Phil there.
Oh, ecstatic,
Yeah.
ecstatic.
You were there for the game. Did you enjoy that Portugal performance? I mean, you mentioned him beforehand, didn't you? The man, the myth.
R7.
R7. Gets the business done, doesn't he?
Well, it was funny because I was sitting there with Abby and I was saying, in the whole game, he probably had 6 or 7 touches in the whole game, and
The best players can do that, though.
That
can't
sums
best
him up,
player.
doesn't it?
Yeah.
7 touches, 2 goals.
Frightening.
yeah, but that's what it's all about,
Yeah.
because he's at the age now where he can't run as much as he can. You know what I mean? But when it matters, the second goal was amazing.
Beautiful. Listen, Paul, I know you love a fact.
Oh, there
So
we go.
I've pulled together some Ronaldo facts.
Is
for
it
you, but
McDonald's related?
It's not McDonald's
Okay.
related. It is. It's R7 related. So Ronaldo now has 11 Euro final tournament goals, and there's 42 including qualifying, which is pretty
He's scored in
spectacular.
every
Sensational.
final he's played in, isn't he?
Ronaldo scored 106 goals for Portugal and is now 3 away from matching Iran's Ali Diaye as the all-time leading international men's goal scorer.
Wow, that's an amazing fact.
Do you know what
That is
else?
it.
Should I throw another one at you?
You go on.
He's the oldest to score 2 or more goals in a European Championship match.
Wow.
Is he?
I hope that's not my next one.
And I think he's one of.
Applaud you.
I also think, and I shouldn't know because I'm a fact master. That is. Did I say fat or did I say facts?
Fact, you're not fat.
I thought I said fat.
You're
You know what I mean? Yeah,
Give
thanks.
yourself a complex.
But I think he's one of very few players to score in every minute of a game from 1 minute to 90.
No.
Wow. That's a lot of goals.
Yeah.
So every minute of the game, he
Yeah.
scored a goal.
That's amazing,
Whether it's
isn't
the
it?
first minute, second minute, 15th minute, 14th minute.
Do you know what? It's just not mosquitoes with
I've
you,
just
is
come
it?
out
You've
with
just
that,
got
you
it
know what I mean?
all.
I've just come
You've
out with
got
I
that.
was
it
just
all.
trying to bring some facts
I know,
to the table.
I
Now
know.
I've been overlooked here.
But do you know the thing I loved most about his performance yesterday was when Jota had a chance and he got shot on target, should have squared it to Ronaldo, and Ronaldo did not let him forget that he should have just squared it to him. And I just love that he always wants to be the man. And when he
said this,
scored
didn't we?
and
Well,
Paul
before he scored,
Yeah,
when Portugal scored first,
Yeah.
the Portuguese players all like surrounded the
Yeah.
goal scorer, and he just came in right at the end and went, yeah, well done, well done.
But he
And
knew
then-
his angles, didn't he? He still knew where the camera was,
And
and
then
he was getting the angles in.
then when he scored the penalty, didn't he?
Yeah.
He went straight to the corner where all the subs were warming up
And cameras.
and cameras, and everyone just jumped on him like it was all about him.
Yeah.
It was amazing. It was good.
One more fact.
Okay.
The Portugal captain is also the first player to feature and to score in 5 Euro final tournaments. This was his 22nd appearance. You just cannot say enough about this man, can you?
You can't, and the thing is, he keeps himself in such good nick, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And as much as some people don't like him, some people do. To be at the age that he is and be that physically right for
Yeah.
these tournaments.
36, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, and he keeps performing. We talk about big name players. He does it time and time
He
again.
reminds me of, sorry to throw it, he reminds me of LeBron James in the NBA. Like these
Yeah.
sort of players that for somehow just manage to
Kevin
defy
Durant,
age.
Kevin
Yeah.
Durant,
Yeah.
people like that. Yeah.
Exactly. And just keep going. Keep going. Let's talk about Hungary. What did you make of them?
Do you know what? Defensively, I didn't think they were that bad in the first half. I thought they held their own in the first half. They're going to be a danger from set pieces. I think that's going to be, if they get a goal, it'll be from a set piece. But the thing is, they've got France and Germany up next. Where are their points coming from?
Yeah.
You just can't see them registering a point.
But I think it's one of
Personally.
those that we spoke about yesterday, didn't we? It was about they're at home.
Yeah,
It was a full house yesterday,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
Yeah.
They're the only nation that can have a full house.
which is what,
Yeah.
67,000 was it?
Yeah.
So that'll give them a slight advantage. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
as much as it's France, Germany, they'll be at home.
And first half, that did play a part, didn't it?
Yeah.
It gives them that extra incentive, and it was an extra percent, I think, to their game.
Absolutely.
France, Germany. Let's get stuck into this one, shall we? Germany. Let's start with Germany. Let's do things a little bit different. They lose their first game of a Euros tournament for the first time ever.
Is that correct, is it?
It is. I'm just dropping facts
You're
left, right, and
fact
centre
machine
today.
here, aren't you?
I thought that's my job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I get one a day, you get about 10. What's all that about?
Sorry, that's
Listen,
research.
I looked at German team. I thought the Germans played well yesterday.
I did.
Let's not get, I thought he got it wrong in the fact that he played Havertz up top. Chelsea tried it with him, never worked. Havertz, when he was at Bayer Leverkusen, always played on the right-hand side. That's where he got his goals from. So to play him up top never worked. And then Werner came on, never looked like scoring.
Yeah.
So my kind of worry about the Germans is that are they going to score enough goals?
Yeah.
I think from back to front they're quite good, but when they get in that final third, they seem to be lacking that finisher.
To be fair, Hummels, that finish from Hummels was decent, wasn't it? Any strike could be. Werner was probably watching, going, "Can I have some tips here?"
This is a prime example of someone who's ageing.
Yeah.
And no disrespect, because after that he probably made one of the best tackles I've ever seen in European football on Mbappe. But just the fact that he's old and he can't get his feet right, goes in the back of the net.
Do you remember that feeling?
What?
At the back end of your career?
What, can't get my feet right?
Yeah. Did that ever happen to you?
You've not seen him on the dance floor yet, have you?
Yes.
And there's a reason.
No, it does. It does. As you feel your body starting to kind of slow down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But your mind wants to do these things.
Yeah.
Is that frustrating?
Yeah, it is. It is. You know what I mean? Because you think you can do what you can do forever.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you think, well, before you used to get to the player or make a tackle, and then you're a little bit short and you don't, so all these things go through your mind, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But mentally you think, I can still do
And
it.
I guess
you know?
it's harder for a defender to adapt their game. You talk about Ronaldo, even Giggsy did it. They can adapt their game when you play further forward, but as a defender you need to time those tackles, and that's a key part of it. So I think if your leg score as a defender, it's arguably more difficult to adapt your game than it is for a forward.
Yeah, absolutely
That's
spot
fair,
on.
isn't it?
No,
Yeah.
it's absolutely spot on. Then we saw Giggs go from left wing to centre
exactly.
midfield.
Yeah.
But I think Germany are a good outfit. I think the way they played football, I thought they were very, very good. The French weren't over great. They weren't a great performance from the French. But when you got Mbappe and people like that, I thought Griezmann was sensational from a defensive working point of view. I thought he was probably the man of the match for me, Griezmann.
Have you ever had Mbappe's pace?
No. He's lightning. He's lightning, isn't he?
He is.
And I prefer him on that left-hand
left,
side.
yeah.
PSG kind of plays a bit more central, but I like him on that left-hand side where he can be isolating people and get at them.
And I think one thing that kind of overshadowed the game, in my opinion, was another head injury.
Yep.
Being out for 10 to 15 seconds, should you be allowed to play on? My argument is that decision should be taken away from the player. I don't think the player should be allowed to make that decision.
Well, I'm not sure if he did make that decision. I think it's got to be down to the doctor. That's the UEFA rules now at the moment.
Yeah.
A player can't say, I'm fine, I'm going to go back on the pitch. The doctor has
But
to
how
look at him.
could he?
No, he couldn't. So it's got to be the doctor and the
yeah.
medical team have to make that decision. But I totally agree with you. It's another head
10
injury.
to 15 seconds is a long time to be out, isn't it?
Yeah.
To then continue.
It is. But obviously he continued.
Yep.
He must have felt okay.
Yeah. But in your time, obviously there's research now.
Lads,
Oh.
I want to continue this, but we're going to have to go
We
to a break.
can't.
I'm so sorry to just stop you in mid-flow there.
Yeah,
It's
I
really
know.
getting
yeah,
into this.
Yeah. I'm testing him. I'm testing
You're
him.
flying right now. We're going to go to a break. There's so much more to discuss. We haven't really even scratched the surface with France yet, who I think have got the front foot in their group at the minute. But we'll be back in a couple of minutes' time. If you haven't already, what do we need to download? The Pitch Football app? Are we doing it?
Too right, we're doing it. Make sure you download the Pitch Football app now.
They say life is a game, gotta hop your goals. I gotta take a shot, now pass me the ball.
Pitch Football at the Euros, brought to you by Downforce Radio.
They say life is a game, gotta hop your goals. I gotta take
Welcome
a
back
shot,
to Pitch
now
Football at the Euros with me, Iain, Abs and Ince. Let's get back to talking about the French now. They were very, very impressive. I know that you said that the Germans put on a strong performance. To then get beaten says how good France really were in that game.
Yeah, I think so. I think, listen, we said before, they've got so many stars in their side. I thought Kante was outstanding again. He plays for like three midfield players, Kante.
Yeah.
He allows Pogba and Rabiot to do the stuff that they do.
Yeah.
And it was
What
good.
a trio.
It's a great trio, and it's funny because when you talk about Pogba, and Pogba's name always comes up, when you talk about football. You look at when he plays for France. He seems a different player than when he plays for.
Why is that?
Frustrating, isn't he?
What's
He's just so frustrating.
It's a difficult thing, isn't it? Because we see players show up at club level. We'll get on a Harry Kane in a bit. No, but Harry does deliver at an international level. We do see that. But they can't do it on the international stage. But sometimes the roles reverse, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think we've seen that with Pogba.
Yeah.
I think, I think he seems more at home with the players. Listen, don't get me wrong. You're playing with Kante and Rabiot compared to Fred and McTominay. If I'm being honest, McTominay's been fantastic this season, but Fred, the different class of the players that he's playing with now, and he seems to enjoy it there. We saw that in his performance. When he's happy, Pogba, you get what you saw against the Germans. Now, when he's not, which he's not been at United for 2 years now.
What, you think it comes down to mood as well?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I do think that. And even he was playing a tournament in the World Cup. He was that good for France, and he's kind of taken it back on today. And when you're playing with top players, you see what you get from Pogba.
But with Rabiot, you mentioned him there. He refused to be on the standby list for the 2018 World Cup. What does that say about a player? Is that you're so determined that it's not good enough and you want more, or should you always be available to play international football?
Listen, people have their own kind of looks at, if they feel aggrieved that you should be in the starting 26 or whether it's that, and you're not. Yeah. And to be fair, Rabiot's had a fantastic season, let's get it wrong.
But that's an attitude thing, isn't it?
It's not really. I'll tell you a quick story, right? 1992, Old Trafford, Man United versus Leeds. Not played in the England squad, not even been picked for the England squad. So in midfield there's Gary McAllister, David Batty, who was playing for England before me, the late Gary Speed. We beat them 2-0 at Old Trafford. So I go into the players' lounge after the game, having a drink. All of a sudden Brian Kidd, who was Alex Ferguson's number 2, says, "Paul, the gaffer wants to see you." So I'm thinking, what have I done? Straight away. I've been at school and they said the headmaster wants to see you. You think, all these things going through your head.
Yeah.
So I go up to see Sir Alex and he goes, "Paul, listen, I've just had a phone call from Graham Taylor." And he said, you're in the England squad. So I said, okay. He said, we're going to Santander in Spain, and you're in the squad. So I said, I'm not going.
What?
So he said, what do you mean you're not going? I said, I'm not going, gaffer. So he said, why not? I said, well, I'll tell you why. Because I've been outstanding and playing great football for the last 2 years at Manchester United, and I've never been in any England squad. And I felt aggrieved by it, and I said, well, I'm not going. So
wow.
I walked back down to the players' lounge. And that was it. 20 minutes later, Brian Kidd comes in again. He goes, "Paul, gaffer wants to see you." So I walk up to see the gaffer again. He says, "Paul, I've just spoken to Graham Taylor." He says, "If you go, you're going to start." So okay, tell him I'll be on that plane.
So you put your foot down?
Wow.
And I started the game against Santander, Spain, in Santander. Lost 1-0. Got man of the match.
Does that happen
Played
often?
ever since.
That's amazing.
Does that happen often with players?
I don't know, but it happened to me.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it happens. Maybe looking back, it's probably a stupid thing to do. But I just felt so aggrieved that I was.
It could have gone the wrong way, couldn't it?
It could have gone the wrong way, but I was playing that good of football at the time that I thought I can't believe that I wasn't in under 92 squad.
Yeah.
How does that feel when you don't get that call up?
Yeah.
Listen, if you're playing bad, then you expect it.
But as you were playing,
you're
how
talking
does
about United. We just won a Women's Cup final against Barcelona in Rotterdam.
Yeah.
Listen, we're going for the title. We're top of the league. We're playing in one of the league favourites in Leeds, and we actually just won the show. And you're not getting an English squad. And you think, well, what is it? So when I got the call, I thought, nah, I'm not having that. So maybe that's the case. That's the case with Abigail. He's been so great this season. To be on standby, you kind of feel a bit let down.
I know that we're sidetracking a little bit here, but there was something I want to touch on. It's when you said about playing best when you're at your happiest. In your career, when were you at your absolute happiest? Would you say?
Good question.
And were you playing at your absolute best? Did it coincide?
Yeah, I think between 92 and probably 95. Yeah. I was at my best. As far as playing for, as far as like every game, I played, I was on the money. Yeah. Every time I got up, I felt I was going to have a good game. And mentally, it's great because every time you get up at Saturday at 3 o'clock, you're going to play well. Some players get up and think, oh, I'm not sure the game's going to go today. I'm not playing that well, or I've got for 3 years I felt I was just going to be unplayable, and it helps when you're playing alongside Roy Keane.
Yeah,
You know, when you play alongside Roy Keane, it actually helps. You know,
Yeah.
we were a deadly duo, us two.
Yeah.
But listen, going back to Abigail, I think he's got every right to be disappointed because he's had such a fantastic season.
And that's the interesting thing, isn't it? You don't see that as an outsider, as someone who's never played football,
Yeah.
or at a good level anyway. We see it differently, and you just think, is it an attitude problem? Is he, you know, has he got too much of a high opinion about himself? But seeing that other side of it, and maybe he did just feel, I'm at the top of my game, and it's an insult, maybe, that he's not involved. So yeah, maybe that's how he's involved. Now,
It's
you know,
like-
you
it's
have
like
a
the
good
game.
season. Yeah,
It's like
exactly.
the game. So how can you put someone on standby and then start them in the first game?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Schick, right? Scored arguably, well, probably not arguably, the goal of the tournament already, right?
Yeah.
Have we seen the pass of the tournament from Pogba outside of
No.
the pre-assist?
No.
Well, currently though, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, there you go.
And there were many contenders. His passing last night was
It was
incredible.
great, wasn't he?
Incredible.
Yeah.
I'm not sure whether he was going for Griezmann. I'm not too sure. You know what I mean? It looked like he was trying to hit Griezmann over the top.
Yeah.
But this is what Pogba can do.
Yeah.
This is what, as I said, you mentioned about players being happy.
Yeah.
You know, in their game. You know, and not just in their game, but outside the game. And when you Pogba's got a happy Pogba, you see stuff like that. You see talent like that. I mean, you see a lot more of it. That's for sure.
Do you think that France are potentially the best team that we have in the tournament right now? And what I mean by that is, I mean like as a unit, like not just individual performers, the best unit.
That's the thing. I do when they're all happy and when they're all friends. You know, there are so many feuds in there, as we talked about Giroud, and then you know, that's the only thing, in my opinion. If they come unstuck, it's going to be off the field stuff. It's not going to be on the pitch. I think they can perform like that the entire tournament. In my opinion, if they are to fall off, it'll be because of those little feuds that are within the camp.
Yeah, I think France look solid. You know, the defensive record's very, very good. They've had so many clean sheets. You know what I mean? So they've got a solid base to work from. You know, people like Varane, you know what I mean? He's immense, isn't he?
Yeah.
You know, he defends, he's got pace, he's got all the attributes to be a world-class defender, which he is. But I think they've got a solid balance. They've got Kante sitting in there. They've got all the right pieces in the right places.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what makes them one of the favourites for the tournament.
As a manager, though,
Yes.
you know, in your time as management, if two players had come out publicly and had a feud like that, what are you doing?
Well, listen, one for sure, there was no chance of Giroud coming on.
Yeah.
But he didn't. You know, he didn't. You know, he could have done, you know what I mean, but he didn't.
But are you trying to diffuse that? What are you doing as a manager?
Are you sitting
But
down?
I've kind of been in a situation like that as a player.
Who with?
I can't really name names, but there was a player, you know what I mean, who basically said something to me.
Right, okay.
Right.
And we had to be in the same England setup.
Yeah.
And you're kind of like looking for the team to go up and you think, right, he's in the squad, I'm in the squad.
Yeah.
Don't mind me.
And was it well known? Did
It
everyone?
was well known. It was well known
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it was like me saying, "Oh, I'll see you in the tunnel. I'll see you in the tunnel."
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So they know what's going on. But
Yeah.
once the squad was announced and we're in the same squad, I'm thinking, well, I've got to deal with this.
Yeah.
You know, so the managers just kind of sat us down and said, "Listen, I know what's gone on. You know, it's been well publicised, but now this is a completely different situation. You know, your teammates here. Let's make sure there's no hard feelings.
Yeah.
And that's what you do.
That's not easy,
Yeah.
though, is it?
But you have to for the team. It's not about
Yeah.
you two.
Yeah.
And that's what Giroud understand. He made this situation about himself and Mbappe. And it's not about. It's about the team collectively.
How transferable is that, like, personal chemistry that you have off the pitch as well as it is professionally when you're playing together?
It's important. It's
Yeah.
important. It's important that you all get on. You know, as I said, I mentioned before about the tables, the Man United tables, Liverpool tables,
Yeah.
and we all kind of changed it all up, so we all kind of mixed as one. That's important, and you don't want any distractions, any deviations. You know, so Abby's right for Giroud to come out at the start of a major tournament and cause this type of disruption at the camp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing is, are people
it's
then
not
taking
right.
sides? You know, are people not talking to Giroud as much?
You wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Because if you're
Yeah.
4 or 5 people hanging
Yeah.
around with Giroud,
Yeah. Yeah.
but you're right what you said, you're right what you said.
Yeah.
And most of these people, players, are not even in the team.
Exactly.
They'll always be the ones who are on the
Exactly.
fringe of
Yeah.
things.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, but Mbappe's a big star there.
Yeah.
You know, and Mbappe didn't cause any issues.
Yeah.
It was Giroud.
Yeah. Yeah.
'Cause it's like us three, you know. I have to take sides sometimes, and I never know
Absolutely,
which way it's
yeah,
going to fall.
yeah. Well, we all know which side you're staying, don't we? You're never coming over this way, are you?
I have had time.
Yeah.
Right, if you haven't already,
you
make sure, I just want to give a quick reminder, if you haven't already, make sure you download the Pitch Football app, because if you do, you can check out all sorts of stats, statistics, conversations, all sorts of stuff on there, and you can get involved with our 4-player competition where you try and make some predictions on the games. Your points go up for the ones you guess correctly, and if you do win the entire tournament, you can play golf with this man. And he's already told me he's going to work on my drive, so I cannot wait for that. Cannot wait for that. We made some bold predictions at the very start of this show on episode 1 on who we thought was going to win the tournament, who's going to get the golden boot. Now that we've seen all of the teams play, Abby, has any of your opinions changed?
I'm going for France to win the whole tournament.
Not Wales, no.
It's hard work, isn't it? I'm going for Kiefer Moore golden boot.
Come on
I'm not
now.
really. I
Come
just
on
wanted
now.
to see that
Come on
reaction.
now. Come on now.
He falls for it every time as well. That's the best thing. But can we just quickly mention what your bold statement
Nah,
was?
this was a
Yes,
joke. I was
yes.
kidding.
What was your bold
Correct.
statement? So you made one the other night, which was, I believe, England aren't going to concede in this tournament, and you've just come out with another whopper.
Well, first things first. Have England conceded?
One game in,
So
steady.
100% success rate so far. I said something controversial. I do think there's a slight chance that we won't see Harry Kane score in this tournament.
Are you well?
Just based purely on that first performance.
Listen, I think, you know, it all depends on how far you go in a competition.
Yeah.
I can't see Harry Kane not scoring.
Good.
But what I can see is that he needs to liven up in his performances.
He needs to liven up. Pauline said it's first. He needs to liven up.
I'd say the same about you.
And what?
He's always lively. Come on, we will be back
Liven up.
with our final part of the show.
Governor.
I'll tell you what, it's about to get lively.
They say life is a game, gotta hop your toes.
Pitch football at the Euros, brought to you by Downforce Radio.
They say life is a game, gotta hop your toes. I gotta take a
Welcome
shot.
back to Pitch Football at the Euros with me, Iain Chambers. We've got Abigail Davies and we've got Ince. I'm not even allowed to call him a legend anymore, apparently, so I'm just going to call you straight up Ince.
Do you want to tell us why you're a bit cranky today? Jingling or something?
Yeah.
Do you want to tell us about that?
Well, I'm staying at my friend's Derek's, who we met on the previous show, and
Yeah.
he's got a lovely dog called Rolo.
Yeah.
We've met him on the show too.
Massive chocolate lab.
Yeah.
Ate your my microphone,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
yeah.
But the last 2 days, he's been sleeping in Derek's room.
Yeah.
Last night, he decided to sleep out in the front room.
Yeah. Right.
So I go to bed, about 12 bells, that time.
12 bells.
And all of a sudden, I'm in a deep sleep, and I hear this kind of jingling. And I'm not sure whether it's Christmas or a slave going to come and land on a villa or something.
Did you think you were going to meet Santa for the first time?
I did it. It was about 3:46 in the morning.
Yeah.
And what it was, the dog that he's got these 2 little kind of tags on his neck,
Unnecessary.
and it's walking around the front room jingling.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, what can I do?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's why I'm a little bit tired, a little bit touchy,
Yeah.
because of that.
Is he going to take off the jingles?
He's got to take one of them off. He doesn't need 2 jingles.
He don't need two. Nobody needs
Who
two
needs 2
jingles.
jingles?
Nobody needs two
You know,
jingles.
so I'm not happy. So,
Well,
anyway.
let's cheer you up by talking more football, shall we?
Yeah.
Right.
We touched on it just before the break on how the tournament's evolving. We've seen everybody play once now, so we can start to put together the pieces, see if our opinions have changed from how we set our stalls at the very beginning of this series. Paul, do you feel the same about everybody?
Yeah, I do. I always kind of think it's hard to make a judgment in first games
Yeah.
because it's all about the opposition you're up against. You know, and you look at how good the Italians were. You know, they were very convincing.
So good.
So good.
As poor as Turkey were,
As poor as
you have to
Turkey
say
were, so
that.
you have to look at the opposition.
Yeah.
It does. My opinion doesn't really change. I think when you look at the French, the Belgians, the English, the teams that I mentioned at the start,
Yep.
they're the ones who are going to be up there. But when you talk about dark horses, we talked about the Italians, didn't we? They are the dark horses for me. They're the ones who, and it will change. Every time a team wins a game
Yeah,
3-0,
of course.
4-0,
Yeah, of course.
or they get through to the group stage, and it's like, that's when you make your
I
judgment.
think, to be honest, one of the surprising things for me, and I know we predicted it, but I think when you come into a tournament like this, just a decade on from Spain being like the kings of world football, even though we know they're not the same team, I think seeing them underperform and seeing them without the individual brilliance that they've had previously, that still surprises me. Even though we predict it, I think when you see that Spanish shirt,
Yeah.
you just expect it to be.
The thing is, in tournaments like this, you can't always expect the biggest and best teams to come out of the blocks firing on all cylinders, can you? Sometimes it's a slow burner,
Yes,
and you
absolutely.
grow
Germans.
into the competition. You see it a lot, don't you?
Germans, prime example.
Yeah.
Always when it matters and they get through the group stages.
If.
If or when.
Well, that's
but
something I want to talk about.
I think they will, but yeah, it takes time. And the first game's always difficult because you're thinking about just getting something from the game.
Yeah.
You know, England weren't great the other day against Croatia,
Got the job done.
But 3
they got the
points.
job done.
Yeah.
And but you've got to be better. Southie came out and said, "Listen, we've got the job done, but we know if we're going to need to win this tournament, we've got to be better." the group that they've got allows them to do that, to grow into the tournament, as Ab said, Chambers said, so your muscles, whatever we want to call him. And these teams will get better, but you've got to judge them against a better opposition.
If we were to put together a bit of a list as things stand, just for fun, just for banter, of like your top 5 teams in order of chances of progressing all the way to the end of this tournament. Okay. France have got to be number 1, right?
France.
Yeah. England.
You're waiting for England. I can see it.
I'm waiting for Wales.
Wales.
No, I'm going France, Belgium, Italy, England in 4th.
What about Portugal?
No, Portugal 4th. Portugal 4th. England 5th.
Belgium.
Number 1.
Yeah. England, France, Germany, Portugal.
I want to talk about England because they're up there with an elite list, especially on your list, Paul. They're right up there. And I know that you don't believe in blind optimism. We've spoken about it a lot on this show, that you're not just going to back for the sake of backing. What is it? I know you've spoken about it before, but what is it about this England squad that makes you so positively optimistic?
I just think a lot of those players who are playing in this England team are coming in with banging form. I really, really do. And, if you go for the back 4, take Pickford out of the equation, but Kyle Walker, Champions League final. Harry Maguire, Europa League final. I know he's injured, but if he plays, he plays. Shaw's been outstanding. Trippier, who played left back the other day, just won the Spanish League, La Liga. You've got Foden in there, who's been outstanding all season. Mount, all these players we talk about are bang in form. And I just think they're fearless, they're young, they've got a lovely balance to them, they've got options, and they've got game changers. Even if things ain't going well, they've got game changers, and that's what I like about this England team.
In previous tournaments, I think, had someone like Maguire been missing, that would have been our talking point,
For sure.
because it would have made such a difference, and you might have conceded. But the fact that you've still kept a clean sheet without Maguire in there. There is more depth. And like you said, you've got the players who can come on, like you Grealish, and they can change the game. But you've also got people who can come into the starting 11 and play just as well. Southgate can trust more than 11 players.
Yeah, he can. And that's the most important thing, is that in that team you've got winners.
Yeah.
People have won something major. Major top tournaments, Champions Leagues. They've won things and know how to win things. And Abby, you're absolutely spot on. You've got people who can change the formation. Wants to go 3 at the back. You can change midfield. No one realised how well Calvin Phillips would have done today, the other day. We was always talking about excuse me, we were all talking about Henderson being a massive miss. Didn't not like it the other day against Croatia. I know Croatia weren't great, but you still got to deal with Modric and people like that, and he was outstanding, Calvin Phillips. So that's another one we've not even spoke about. So we've got options.
Another thing that's worth talking about is player of the tournament. I want to get onto Golden Boot in just a moment, but there's only so much we can take from these first games. But who's been a standout to you? Schick's got to be up there, of course, from his performance.
He's up there.
Just be honest, Abs. All right, what we spoke before the show. Don't you even
being real.
Don't you even try this one on me, all right?
Well, I'm not putting Joe Allen in there.
No, you just say what you said before the show.
So I'm going Frankie de Jong. I am. Well, Frankie de Jong, I think the way he drops deep, he set up.
The thing is, he's a tough man to make laugh, and you've really been there.
You do make me laugh.
But I think it's me being an idiot that's made him laugh. I don't think I've said anything particularly funny. I don't think I'm going to get into stand-up with this. I think it's more that he's laughing because I'm an idiot. But yeah, Frankie de Jong, for me, he was man of the match in that Dutch game, and I think the way he just controls that midfield, the way he picked out that pass for their second goal, and I think he's going to be crucial if they are to have a good run. He's a fantastic youngster, and he's going to be part of that Dutch team. We've spoken about how long it's taken them to get over Schneider and why are you looking at me like that?
I'm not.
And players like, I'm not putting them in the same bracket. Don't worry. You can't come at me with that, because I'm not doing that. But he is going to be so key if they're to get out of the group and have a good run. So he's the player for me.
Listen, I think when you talk about a player at the top, it's early doors because it's only just one round, but.
It's fun though to speculate.
It's fun, and it's got to be Schick. It has to be.
It has to be Schick.
There's no two ways about it. He's probably scored the best goal in European football we'll ever see for a long, long time. I'm telling you about that now, and I did mention it before that he was one to look out for.
The thing is,
don't let us forget it.
You've got to be real. You did call that.
I did call that, and it, not just a goal, but the header that he scored was a wonderful header. It wasn't an easy header. So if you look at the players of the tournament so far, it's okay saying all like Lukaku and people like that. It's got to be this man. I'm sorry, Abs. I don't like disagreeing with you, but it has to be this man.
Don't you? That shocks me.
Honestly, really, I don't.
Do you think he can back it up going further and deeper into the tournament?
Yeah, I do.
You do?
Yeah, I actually do. I really do. I mean, he'd be on cloud 9 at the moment,
You're a
wouldn't
chic believer, aren't you?
What are you saying that for? Yeah, no, I do. He must be on cloud 9. He really must.
Oh, God,
he
can you
must be. He
imagine?
must be so
Yeah,
confident.
yeah.
Not look forward to the next game.
Yeah.
You know, he could be one of those surprise golden boot winners, couldn't he?
You don't want to be training with him the next day, do you? When he
No.
turns up for training the next day and you just say, oh my God. You don't want to be dealing with him at breakfast when he's passing you a croissant like that across the room, flicking it across.
That goal for him was like my second putt against him and Derek.
Oh no!
There it
I think we were
is.
going to talk
There
about
it
that
is.
again.
We'll bring it back up.
Yeah.
Golden boot. Let's talk about golden boot. Who's gonna get it? I'll go first. Ronaldo.
I thought you were going to say Harry
So
Kane.
it's like,
I don't think you can write off Ronaldo. I think the fact that he started this tournament
Yeah.
so strong and made such an impact, I think that could be a sign of things to come for him.
no, listen, I wouldn't say it's a bad choice. You know, you always got to look at people who you think are going to progress to the latter
Yeah,
stages
exactly.
of the tournament. So I've got to go for Lukaku.
Yeah.
Got to.
We're in agreement.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we are. I said him before the tournament started.
So did I.
This isn't going to happen, but I'm just throwing it out there. Could we see Sterling do it? Is there any chance?
Listen, as I said before, you can play in any game. So it's like if they could play against Scotland. Scotland get a man sent off, all of a sudden you're 10 men. Opens the door up for Sterling to get 2, Harry Kane to get 3. It just changes
Yeah.
depending on the discipline of the opposition. But there's no reason why. I mean, I wouldn't say he's going to be it, but
No, you
I
never know.
think he'll be up there.
Can I
think-
just
yeah.
say one thing with Lukaku that I've got in common with him? He did an interview recently and just said how much he loves carbs.
Oh, really?
And yeah, do you know what? I just thought carbs.
Carbs.
He loves his breads,
You love
he
a
loves
chip
his
nut.
pastas. But the fascinating thing that I thought, he's now introduced more salad into his diet, and I'm like, oh, whoa.
Ah.
Yeah. But that's what he puts a lot of his success down to, is that he's changed his diet and he feels fitter and stronger.
Well, it's fair. I mean, you do, because when he was at Manchester United, he looked a bit cumbersome,
Yeah.
looked like he couldn't get around the park.
Yeah.
But I know my fittest time in my career was when I went to Inter Milan.
Yeah.
Well, there are no Big Macs over there.
No, it wasn't that. It was just the fact that, you know, you train so hard. I mean,
Yeah.
you stretch for 45 minutes before you actually go out to train.
Yeah.
You know, the training is really intensified.
Was that the manager or was it the culture?
It's a culture.
Yeah.
It's a culture. And then after training, you stretch for an hour.
Yeah.
And then you think the food's gorgeous, you eat the right foods.
Yeah.
You know, they give you all these nutrients that you take before training, before you go in the gym.
Yeah.
And that's the fit. I felt so fit when I
Yeah.
was out there. And I can see that in Lukaku.
Yeah.
He looks sharper, stronger,
Exactly.
quicker.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
But don't give up the carbs.
No.
I can't believe how
Especially the
quickly.
Mackies.
I can't believe how quick. There's Deliveroo here. I can't believe how quickly this show has disappeared right in front of us. I've really enjoyed today's episode. If you haven't already, make sure you download the Pitch Football app. It's awesome. You can win yourself some amazing prizes, and it's just a wonderful place to be regardless. This man is about to go stretch out like he's back in Italy. He's going to do some Pilates. I'm going to try and live up to the name that he's given me and go have a cheeky workout. And I think Abby's going to have a beer. So
Yeah.
is that about right?
Yeah,
Is that accurate?
that's accurate.
All right,
You
good
got
stuff.
me down to a T.
Good stuff. Thanks so much for watching. We're here all the way through the tournament.
They say life is a game, gotta have your goals.
Pitch Football at the Euros, brought to you by Danforth Radio.